Hello my bookish besties and welcome back into another video of Bookmas. Today I wanted to discuss my 26 for 2026. These are kind of ambitious. I made a 25 for 2025 and I definitely read I think like less than half of them. But I did technically make that list kind of before I really understood myself and my reading taste. A lot of these are books that I think I would read whether there was a list to follow or not. So let's get started. My first category here are books that are kind of left over from previous lists. So a couple from my 25 and 2025 that I want to bring with me to 2026. And then a couple from my 10 before the end that I didn't quite make it to. So the first book on my list is The Second Death of Locke. This one has been on my radar for quite a while now. I'm super excited to read this. I just keep like running out of time and other things keep distracting me. But this is going to be one of the first books I pick up in January. I can feel it. And if not, it like will get read by February. I'm not kidding. I'm reading this ASAP. This is supposed to be about a lady knight and kind of I think he's a mage who she is bound to protect, but it is discovered that like she is the source of all magic, so they're like kind of protecting each other, I think. I don't know, but it sounds really, really good, and I've heard the tension in here is phenomenal, and I'm really in my like knight era. So yeah, I have to read this, and soon. I've been saying that for months, but like I mean it, okay? The second book on that list is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Again, this is one that I keep just kind of putting off. I really wanted to read it during spooky season, but I had a lot of books I wanted to read during spooky season. But this one is one that I do think I could technically enjoy any time of year. I do think it kind of leans more into that gothic atmospheric vibe, but it's one that I am super excited to read, like excited enough that I do think that I will just read it sooner rather than later anyways. Basically, this is about a priest who I'm trying to figure out how to describe this one. This is a book basically about a guy who forms a band of misfits made out of like a vampire, a ghost, a werewolf, etc. And they go on a mission together. So it's kind of like the Goonies meets that one very specific movie of Scooby-Doo where they're at like the school for monsters, Ghoul School, that one. It's kind of all those vibes together. Also, I just noticed you can like definitely see my wallflower trash in the shot, so I'm just gonna move this over here to the floor and I'll put it in the trash can after I finish recording because my trash can's all the way over there. Sorry about that. Okay. Another book very highly on my radar is Sorcery of Thorns. This is one of those books that I bought it, I want to say back in like 2023. Like, it's been a while. And the day I bought this, the lady that was checking me out said this was one of her all-time favorite books, and I still haven't read it for some reason. So, I definitely plan to get to this ASAP. From what I understand, it's a magical library kind of situation. I don't know much else about it. I also have this like gorgeous Fairy Loot edition, and I am just super excited to read it. I have been excited to read it literally since I bought it. I just keep picking up other stuff, but I do think this is going to be very high priority for me in the first couple of months of the year. Okay, and then technically one of the items on my list is the new Letters to Ketterdam book that Leigh Bardugo is releasing. I think she said in summertime, but knowing the way Leigh Bardugo writes, I do fear that I need to catch up on King of Scars and this one is so dusty with the frick-frack. Anywho, I think I need to read King of Stars and Wool of Wolves. These are the two novels that follow Nikolai. This is his little duology, but it also has a couple of the characters from the other Grishaverse novels. So there's a character from the Six of Crows in here, and obviously, other than Nikolai, there's a couple of other characters from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So just to be like fully caught up and as prepared as possible, I want to give these two a read. They have been on my radar for a long time. I read Shadow and Bone, again, I think back in 2023, but I got a little burnt out of the Grishaverse, so I was like, oh, I'll just take a short break. And that short break turned into like a 15-month break or longer. So these are very high on my radar. I just kind of have to get back in the mood for them. I hear mixed things about this duology, so Also, it drives me literally crazy that I somehow got a set that is different heights. Like, why does it do that? But I definitely think I will be giving these a read before the newest book comes out. Okay, and then these next books are all of the Brandon Sanderson / Cosmere novels. I still need to read in order to catch up. One of my major goals for 2025 was to read as much Brandon Sanderson as possible. It would have been awesome if I finished all of the Cosmere, but I just knew that wasn't really realistic. So these are all of the books that I have left in the reading order I am following. So I will go in order of the reading order. So let me rearrange this. Give me a second. Okay, I think this is the order, but the order is not super important. The idea is that I'm going to read all of these, hopefully. The first one is the Bands of Mourning. This is the third book in Mistborn Era 2. I read the first two this last month and a half-ish, and I loved them. I'm literally itching to get back to this universe. There is just a couple of other books that I'm trying to read first, so I don't think I'll be able to get to this before the end of the year, but that's okay because this gives me something really, really exciting to look forward to in the new year. But definitely will be picking this up sooner rather than later. And then after that, I would read The Rhythm of War. This is book 4 of the Stormlight Archive. I kind of got into a Stormlight Archive reading slump. Like, I just kind of, Oathbringer took me so long to read that I got a little bit burnt out. But going to Dragonsteel Nexus, I am slightly more excited to get back into this universe. It's not that I was like ready to give up. It's just I read so many Brandon Sanderson books back to back that I needed a little breather. So I do think I might wait to read this maybe February, March timeframe, but I definitely will be picking this up sooner rather than later once again, because I do feel like with Brandon's worlds, the sooner I read them together, the better I enjoy them, because his worlds are just so complex and there's so many Easter eggs and so much to like just catch that I don't want to wait too long or I'm gonna have a miserable time because I won't remember anything. And then I do think after that, you go back into the Lost Metal. This is the last currently published Mistborn book. This is Mistborn, like, number 7, technically. It's the 4th one of the Era 2. I've heard this is one of the, like, most emotionally devastating Cosmere reads out there. So I'm a little scared because I already love these characters and this world so much that I don't know that I'm ready for the trauma. But I do believe you read this after Rhythm of War. So depending on how the Bands of Mourning go, I might have to pick these up a little sooner so that I can get to this one, because this is probably the Cosmere book I'm looking forward to reading the most. And then after that we have Wind and Truth. This is like the largest book known to man. They had to like literally create a new printer for this. Okay, that's crazy town. But this is the 5th and final Stormlight book that is currently released. I have once again heard kind of mixed opinions about this book, which does make me a little scared. But at the same time, I do have a lot of friends that this is their favorite Stormlight book. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how I'm feeling. But with how big this book is, I do fear that this one is gonna be like a July read, just because it's gonna take me from March to July to finish it. We can do it though. I believe in us. And by us, I mean me, because I'm gonna be the one reading it. But I will update you once I do, for sure. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure in the reading order I'm following, they recommend doing The Sunlit Man after Wind and Truth. So that's what I'm saying. If you feel strongly about it, let me know down in the comments. But I don't know anything about this book. I believe it's like a kind of a modern fantasy, sci-fi-esque book. Like kind of futuristic. But that is literally all I know about it, because I have heard that it is very Cosmere connection heavy, like to the point that you shouldn't really read this till you've read pretty much everything else. Same thing goes with, I don't have a physical copy yet, but the Isles of the Emberdark. This is Brandon's newest kind of release in the Cosmere. It is currently out and published for people who did his like what are those called? Kickstarters, I guess? Or maybe he does Backrocket. I don't know. The point is, they're out for the Dragonsteel version, but the just like, you know, normal version you'd buy at like Walmart, Barnes & Noble, etc. doesn't even release until February or March. So this is my stand-in. This is the art from the like Dragonsteel version, but I personally won't even have my copy until like February, March time frame. So I want to read it, but I don't even own it. So, and like I said, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to read this last. So, and then last but not least, this is technically 2 stories. I showed this off in my Dragonsteel Nexus vlog and haul. This is a dual book that is the stories from the trading cards they did last year. They're really short. It's just, I do believe they are slightly canon. So we've got Elsecaller, which is a Jasna short story, and then we have King Lopin, the first of the Alothkar, which are also, I almost said also about Jasna. This is obviously about the Lopin, but I do believe these are canon. These were originally the Stormlight story deck books, like the stories that were on the cards. So I'm really excited to get to these, but I don't really know the timeline in which you would read these, because they technically released last year at the Wind and Truth release party. So I guess technically I could read these before Wind and Truth because people were reading them as they were trading them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to read this when I feel like it, pretty soonish. Maybe I'll do some research on when the best time to read that is, because I obviously don't know. If you know, let me know. Capiche? Anywho. Okay, and then my next category after that, these are just the first 6 books, but I do kind of want to read as much as possible, but that is the Cassandra Clare universe. So, like I said, these are the first 6 because these are the 6 that I would like to read the most. So if I only get to 6 of them in 2026, these are going to be the 6. We got the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments, the first 3. I just want to read them. I've seen so many people reading them. I have really bad FOMO. I think I would love them too. So I would love to read everything, like I said, but to be realistic, the first 6 are kind of on my please, 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 please radar. But anywho, I don't know what these are about. I kind of know they're like, I believe it's like a Crescent City before Crescent City. Like, I believe it's about this girl. So, like, the Mortal Instruments is about a girl who can see demons. Like, demons and angels and all that live among the humans. And she's a shadow hunter, so she sees them and she hunts them. And then this one, I think, is about people before her. Like, so this one is technically in, like, the 1900s and this one's in, like, the 2000s. But that's about all I know. I think I like it, so I bought it. I bought all of them. And I have more coming in the mail literally tomorrow. I will definitely be doing like a full reading vlog of these. I think I'll do maybe in chunks of 3, kind of following a reading order. But if that's something you'd be interested in, be sure to stick around and also let me know, please. Okay, and then my last category here, these are all the books that are just kind of on my radar that aren't leftover Cassandra Clare or Cosmere. Does that make sense? I hope so. So first we have The Hobbit. I would love to read all 4 of the J.R.R. Tolkien novels next year, but The Hobbit definitely is my #1 priority of the 4. I haven't seen the movies or read the book. So, like, I kind of know what happens because The Lord of the Rings explains it a little bit. But this one I would be, like, fully going in blind as opposed to the other 3. I've seen the movies tons of times, so I would like to read them. They're just a little less high priority than The Hobbit. I don't even know what it's about. I know it's about Bobo Baggins. Or Bilbo. And I think he fights a dragon. Because there's a dragon in the movies. But like I said, I haven't seen the movies, so I don't even know. Next, I would like to read You Between the Lines. This, from what I understand, is a romance novel about 2 poets who write about each other, but they're also like rivals, And I don't know, I just think this will be right up my alley. It'll be a fun little palette cleanser in the spring for me, I think. I love this cover. I used to write a ton of poetry, and I would love to write a book maybe one day. So this is just right up my street of like kind of the vibes I think I would enjoy in a book. So yeah, that's about all I know about it. But I am really, really excited. I do think that it'll just be a good, funny, goofy time. Also, her first name is Lee. And it's spelled the same way as Lee Bardugo. And his name is William. William and Lee. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. She can't stand him. He can't forget her. I don't really like romance a ton, but this one I am super excited about. Okay, and then this next book is one that I technically am thinking is going to be a buddy read. I bought a copy of this book for my friends Ashley and Olivia for Christmas. And then I went ahead and picked up a third copy naturally so that we could hopefully read this together. It is basically like if Fourth Wing was dire wolves instead of dragons. And that's about all I know about it. But I do know that Ashley and Olivia both really love Fourth Wing. I really love Fourth Wing. So I was thinking it could be a really fun book for all of us to read together. I've heard pretty good things about this. I've seen tons of people here on YouTube read it and really, really love it. It is really chunky though. So actually that's crazy. I just flipped straight to the page that talks about all of the YouTubers who watched it. So like Laura, Emmy, Bailey, they're all on here. That's super cool. Anywho, what I was saying is this book is a little chunky, so I think we'll have to find a month where all of us are, you know, pretty free. But I'm really excited to give this book a shot, and I'm really happy that my friends are willing to read it with me. Next we have Shield of Sparrows. This is one of those books that I was really, really hoping to get to this year. It was like super high on my radar, but then other things just took precedence. Thanks, Brandon Sanderson. No, I'm just kidding. I'm super ecstatic I read the Cosmere this year. But I do feel a little left out once again, so this is pretty high on my radar of books to read soon. I've heard literally nothing but great things, and the second book comes out in 2026, so maybe if I read it at the right time, I can hop on this bandwagon and read the second book with y'all. But I don't know a ton about this book other than I do believe it is about a lady who, oh my god, she has so many books. Anywho, it is about a lady who I think goes on some sort of quest involving monsters. And I think she goes on that quest to try to save her sister. I've read the blurb on this so many times in so many different videos, so you'd think I would remember, but alas, I do not. And I don't feel like reading it right now. So, monsters. That's about all I know. And, yeah. I have a signed copy though. Thanks, Walmart. Pretty cool. I think it's gorgeous. Gonna read it. Yep. Okay, next we have Soul of Shadow. This is by Emma Noyes. This is like a fantasy trilogy. Well, it's gonna be a trilogy, I think, inspired by the Vampire Diaries. That's all I needed to hear. I like Emma a lot. I'm on her street team. I am a very big fan of hers. I technically received an arc of this and I never read it. I'm really sorry, Emma, if you're watching this somehow. Sorry, girl. But I'm really excited to give this a shot. It's like a YA romance. Like I said, it is inspired by the Vampire Diaries, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So that's about all I needed to know. And then I said, yep, I'm gonna buy that. So I think again, it'll be a really quick, fun read. It is YA, so you'll know how I feel about YA. We can just breeze through this, but like in a good way. So yeah, really excited to see what this is finally all about. Speaking of YA romance fantasies, next we have The Rose Bargain. This is by Sasha Payton Smith. Again, I don't know a ton about this book. I have talked about it in other videos before, so you'd think I would know, but from what I understand, this is about a girl who, she goes to like a kingdom, and yeah, so it's her debut season. There's a competition to marry the queen's fae son. Yeah, so I think it's like trials, fae, I don't know, heard really good things about it. Saw it for really cheap at a book sale recently, and I said, you're coming home with me. So I'll be giving this a read. Okay, and then we have Arcana. I almost said Arcana Unbounded. That is Brandon Sanderson. Anywho, we have Arcana Academy. This is by Elsie Kova. Again, the second book, I believe, is coming out next year. So this would be a perfect time for me to read this. I could join in kind of on the hype. This is about a girl. Again, we're following kind of similar themes to some of these other ones, but she goes to school. And I believe there's card magic involved. So maybe a little bit of like a One Dark Window kind of vibe. But like she's going to school and there's a fake marriage and they do cards and it's dark academia. My camera stopped recording, but I think all I was saying was this is dark academia, they go to school, there's card magic. I think it's going to be a little bit like Fourth Wing and One Dark Window. And I like both of those. So I'm feeling really hopeful about this, but also a little scared. Okay, and then last but not least, we have Empire of Silence. This is the first book in the Sun Eater series. I just really want to read it. I hear it's the next best fantasy sci-fi kind of novel next to Fourth Wing, next to Red Rising. So I really want to give this a read. I have heard that this first book is kind of a little slow, so I'm a little scared. But I've heard literally every other book in this series is phenomenal, like life-changing. So I am really excited, but I kind of have already committed that Cassandra Clare is going to be my big series for next year. Also, I'm kind of hoping that maybe if I wait long enough, they will release a boxed set of these books and I can just buy all of them. But I do have this first one. I'm willing and excited to give it a shot. It's basically about a guy, and in this first book, I don't know how old he is, but we're following his life through the whole story as he gets ready to eat the sun, I think. Like, I think the series ends with the sun dying. I don't know though. Obviously, I haven't read it. I haven't heard much about the plot synopsis other than like it's traumatizing and it's really good and it's sci-fi and people compare it to, I almost said Fourth Wing again. They compare it to Red Rising. So yeah, I'm gonna read it naturally. But anywho, those are my 26 for 2026. This is a pretty ambitious list, so I will do a mid-year check-in on how we are doing to see if we kind of get through these. I was going to reduce it to a 12 for 2026, like pick one book that I non-negotiably was going to read every month. But as I was pulling books, I realized a lot of them are books that I think I'm going to read anyways, like my Brandon Sandersons. I'll probably read those anyways. Cassandra Clare, I'd like to read all 6 of those anyways. So I went ahead and did the 26. And you know what? I'm feeling really good about this list. So let me know down in the comments below what's on your list to read for this upcoming year, and let me know what book I should start with. I think I kind of know what I want to start with, but let me know if you have any suggestions, and thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one.